So it would be nice to have a lot of color up here in a way, except for the fact that we would end up with a very sharp vertical plunge of high values and chroma, you know, like here and here, sitting here. That's probably not the best place for it. So I'm going to have to tone that down a little bit. Rather, I'd like to keep these values almost as high and the chroma's almost as high as we move up into here, so that we end up with this sweep, right? This sweep going down to here, and then reversing as we go down the rocks and in the foreground. So that's kind of the next thing, I think. I don't know, I might end up working on these next. Don't know. It's late. I don't think I'm going to paint anymore today. We were going to go for a drive today, my wife and I. Got up this morning, and for the first day in weeks and weeks and weeks, it's been very clear here, the air. But this morning there was smoke spilling out of the throat of the valley into the Fraser Valley. And that's where we have to go if we want to go for a drive. We like to go into the mountains. It's kind of pointless to go for a drive in the mountains if you can't see the mountains. So it's about visibility. So we stuck around here, and I didn't get much done, as you can see. I painted this tree in, haven't done the trunk yet. And that's about it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to start here or move here or move there. I don't know. I should just shut up sometime. So this is just a little example of one of the many things I have to do to you know, to finish up the painting sort of thing. I need to match roughly some of these colors. Because I'll see a shape like this, and it's okay, but as a mass it becomes quite a glob. So I'd like to, that's too green. I had too much yellow ochre in that. Now I'm going to go to more ultramarine blue and a little bit of alizarin crimson. How are we looking? Nope, that's too blue. It's very fiddly, you know. It's I don't want to sound unromantic about painting, but frankly, I find it just irritating. So, hey, but you got to do it. You have to. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in. I'm going to keep this one very separate from this because together they're very much a mass. So I'm just going to break into that. You know, immediately it loosens things up a little, which we want. Okay, that might be a little bit too light, so I'll dip into my ultramarine blue. You know, I don't usually show you guys this stuff because I know it's extremely boring, or it would be for me. But it's the stuff you gotta do, you know, it just is. Okay, so now we'll have two masses, which is, considering what it's next to, they need to be broken up. So we've mixed a pile and matched the paint reasonably closely. Now I have to take my brush, and I'm going to take a little ultramarine blue and a little bit of what I have now is burnt umber here. And we're going to bring back that outline. See, so I've covered almost no ground, and that's okay. but it's kind of, well, I think I've mentioned this in the past on at least one of my videos. I have a friend who's also a painter, and he called this the miserable middle because it's just, in a way, it's labor. You know you have to do it. You see it while you're working on the rest of the painting. I'm waving my arm around again without actually anybody being able to see it. But you know, you see, this helps to loosen things up a little bit. But within context, I wouldn't want this as a big mass. I would want this to be just broken up. It's just a tiny thing. But to me, it's very important. And yeah, he called it the miserable middle. The miserable middle, because you've got all these little housekeeping jobs that just, I think they really have to be done. That's one of many that I'll do on this canvas before it's done. I don't take you along all the time, because again, I don't want to put you in a coma from boredom. So for a bit of tree trunk like I'm going to work on here, we'll start with the dark side. Luke, stay away from the dark side. Anyway, well, that is ultramarine blue and a bit of burnt sienna. And set that in place. Going about halfway across, you know, halfway, 50% of the way across the trunk to there. That's just in this case. You don't do that all the time. It really depends on the lighting you have in the painting and what have you. But it's what I'm doing now. Now, I'm going a little further down the trunk than you can see right now, because if I included where I am right now on the trunk in the frame, then I would have to back up a lot and I wouldn't be able to give you such a close-up. And for the moment, I would like to give you a very close-up view of what I'm doing with the tree. Okay, back up to the top part again. Alright, so that was ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and a little bit of white, because we don't want to go, otherwise it's practically black, right? But let's say that was sort of half and half ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Maybe a little more ultramarine blue and a bit of white. Now that we're going to go to the light side of the tree, I'm having very little burnt sienna in it. And we're leaning more towards the ultramarine blue. Is that going to be too light? It might be. Let me just take a little step back from that and see. Yeah, I don't want that very important. I might have gone a little bit light on that, okay? We will darken it a little bit. Not by much. Here. And up here. So you see I'm ending up blending this blue into the dark, the lighter into the darker and over the darker, because I don't want too straight a line there. But now we're not half and half anymore. Now we're, you know, say 2/3 is light on the left, 1/3 is dark on the right. Maybe not even 1/3, maybe just more like a quarter if you averaged out. Mm. Okay. That's good for there. Now just a couple of strokes on the underside here that you can't see. Okay, and I'm going to I think I'm actually going to, excuse my head here. This bit of foliage, that's going to be coming from that trunk. So I'm going to paint that in now as well. In the theme of the foliage on the left-hand side of the painting, I'm going to keep it not too intense, not too bright. And not too detailed. Okay. It's a little on the light side, but not too bad. Okay. Now I can see that I would like to raise the value in just a few spots on that piece of trunk. So, we'll take a little more of our white. I'm leaning towards the blues here. And we'll just touch it here and there. Okay, that's a little bit busy. When you don't see me, you hear the knife, but you don't see me on camera. It's because like I said, I have a little section down lower that I need to work with as well. Okay, I think we'll call that little slice of the pie finished. Let me just back up my Bring back the zoom on the camera. Flip the viewfinder around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. So you could ask, this trunk going up, where's the yellow crown? Well, this is an old trunk. It broke off and only grew a little bit this way, and there's just a little bit of foliage, a little bit of the yellow stuff. It's really just hiding behind this one. And I don't care. Well, as you can see, I've started to play on here. I've darkened the underside here a little bit. So it's really more of the same, yet another tree. I put a little more light on these. I felt they could handle it. I like it better, actually. I even lightened the value under the canopy because they became somewhat dark holes, a little bit. Before I go, I'd just like to show you something. And I'm just going to, without stopping the camera, we'll go for a bumpy ride here for a moment. And I never get this right. I'm always zooming out when I mean to zoom in. Here, this tree, okay, it's mostly in the shade. It's close. What helps to determine the fact that it's close is because I've been very economical with my strokes. They're fairly direct, they're fairly strong. That brings them, technique of application is consistent with these two and with this one. That's one of the ways that we know that it's quite close in. With the trees, with these trees, I've made a lot smaller strokes because they're farther away. That just helps. It's not to say that you can't do these very economically with strokes, but on a painting this large, I think it helps a little bit. That's about it. I'm just going to do so much more of the same. We'll leave it at that for now. Talk to you soon.